Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the NBA slate on Draftkings for Thursday, January the 5th. Now we got a small Thursday slate, 4-game slate for tonight guys, but as always, we're going to go game by game. Going to give a quick breakdown of this 4-game slate, what I do like, taking a first look on Wednesday night when I'm making this video. As always though, before we get started with the breakdown, if you guys enjoy these DFS videos, would appreciate it if you would hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet, and if you guys are new to the channel, check out PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the sponsor of this video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks, use my promo code Noah. We look at the bottom of the screen. When you do sign up with my promo code PrizePicks, they will match your first deposit up to $100. And for those of you that have never heard about PrizePicks, they are a player prop site, more focused on, more or less over under. It's not like your traditional DFS where you're building out a lineup and you have a salary cap and all that stuff. It's nothing like that. You're just taking over or under on a player's projection, more or less. Very simple, very easy to use. You just have to make at least 2 picks, or you can make up to 6 picks. You can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. And you can see the board they have available right now for Thursday's games. Obviously, there's really not much up right now when I'm making this video, but check the board again sometime on Thursday afternoon. You'll see plenty of props from every game, from just about every player. And if there's anything that stands out to you, just go more or less on their projection. They have a ton of different categories you can choose from. They offer fantasy score projections as well. So if you make fantasy point projections, or if you have access to fantasy point projections, you can compare your projections to PrizePicks and then make some decisions that way. But definitely get over there, guys. Sign up for PrizePicks. Use that promo code Noah, and you will get your first deposit matched up to $100. But let's go ahead and talk through this 4-game slate for Thursday. And we'll start off with the first game of the night, the Grizzlies and the Magic. Both these teams are on a back-to-back today. We have a couple of teams on back-to-backs. Both these teams are on a back-to-back, and then Houston is on a back-to-back as well. So we'll start off on the Memphis side. Memphis, they didn't really have to play their guys full minutes on Wednesday because they blew out the Hornets. So wouldn't expect Memphis to really rest anyone here. I think if somebody does get rested from Memphis, it would probably be Desmond Bane, just because Desmond Bane is coming back from injury. Maybe there's a chance that he sits here. But again, he only played 26 minutes on Wednesday, so I think he probably plays his full minutes today. And I think he's going to be good to go. But we'll start off with Ja Morant at 10,400. I think it's a really good matchup here for Ja Morant. I think he is definitely a strong pay-up option on this slate. Obviously, didn't have the greatest game Wednesday against Charlotte, but kind of had lost minutes due to blowout. Probably would have had a much better game had he gotten his normal minutes. We can expect Ja to play 33, 34 minutes if it's a close game. I think this matchup's really good. Hopefully the Magic keep this game close. If they do, I think Ja offers plenty of upside, so I'm definitely interested in him as a pay-up option. The rest of Memphis, though, like Bane, Triple J, Bane is 6,700. I don't mind here. He's starting to find a groove as of late. Obviously, 11 rebounds. You can't expect him to have 11 rebounds again, but he's been shooting the ball better. Minutes have started to trend up a little bit. I'd assume he plays like 30 minutes today if he's good to go, assuming he actually plays. Again, it's a back-to-back. He's coming back from injury, so we'll have to see if he's actually playing today. But if Desmond Bane's good to go, I think he does get like 30 minutes, and at 6,700, he would be on my radar on a short slate like this. Triple J, you guys know the upside with him. It's just there's also some downside because he does foul a lot. He always gets in foul trouble, but when he's not in foul trouble, you can see him have really big games. I think this matchup's fine against Orlando, so I'm definitely interested in Triple J. The rest of Memphis, like Dylan Brooks, not super interested in. Steven Adams at 5,700, I think is priced about right, but he's been playing huge minutes as of late. He's been rebounding at a crazy level, 17, 21, 23, and 15 rebounds over his last 4 games. His minutes have been really good without Brandon Clark. I mean, he played 27 minutes last game, and that was without playing at all in the fourth quarter. He was on pace to play like 33, 34 minutes. So we might get 33, 34 minutes from Steven Adams today, assuming Brandon Clark remains out. I think Clark being out is a boost for Adams. But that'll do it for Memphis. There's not too much else that I like here. And then on the other side with Orlando, so Orlando's been really shorthanded lately, but they're getting a lot of guys back today. Franz Wagner was suspended, but he's back for today. I think Kevon Harris was suspended. He's going to be back. And then I think there was another guy, Admiral Schofield, was suspended, so he's going to be back. So Orlando's going to have most of their guys. They're going to have like 10 or 11 available players. So they're not like super shorthanded here. The matchup's not the best either against Memphis. Paulo Banchero finally had a good game Wednesday after going through a little bit of a slump. Played 36 minutes, had 47 DK points. At 8K, especially with Franz Wagner back, I think Banchero's priced correctly. He doesn't really stand out. Same goes for Wagner at 6,800. These other Orlando guys like Fultz, I'm not super interested in. Do have some interest in Wendell Carter Jr. just because without Mo Wagner, who's still suspended, and Bol, he entered health and safety protocols on Wednesday, and I'm guessing Bol is probably going to be out again today. So if they don't have Mo Wagner, which they're not, he's suspended, and if they don't have Bol as well, we'll probably see Wendell Carter Jr. start at center once again. He played 30 minutes on Wednesday. It was a really good matchup against OKC. This matchup against Steven Adams and against Memphis is obviously not as good, but Wendell Carter is a good per-minute producer, and I'd assume he plays about 30 minutes again, so I do have some interest in him at 6,400. I think he's probably my favorite play on Orlando, but that's pretty much it for the Magic. I don't really like anyone else here, so that'll do it for that game. Let's move on to the next one, Boston and Dallas. So this game, I think, is mostly you're gonna be looking at like the stars here. Luka coming in at 12-6. Obviously not like the greatest spot against Boston, but Luka has just been on another level lately. I mean, you look at his game log, he's got like 60 DraftKings points in like 6 straight games. He's got 80 DraftKings points in like 4 out of his last 6, or 3 out of his last 6, 4 out of the last 6. Dude's just been playing at an elite level. He put up over 60 against Boston earlier this year. I usually don't get worried about matchup when it comes to a guy like Luka. He's pretty much matchup proof. This price tag, though, definitely makes him more of a GPP option, especially looking at this slate right now the night before. There's really not much value today. We'll have to see if any value opens up. It's going to be really tough to pay up for Luka, at least like right now. If I had to build lineups right now, it would be really tough to get Luka. But we'll have to see like what kind of value we get. Right now, Luka's not a priority for me at that expensive price tag and in kind of a tougher matchup. Christian Wood is 7,900. Don't love the spot for him against Boston either, but he's been playing really well lately. Minutes have been good. He's going to continue to start, play big minutes as long as he avoids foul trouble. With Boston getting Robert Williams back, that definitely makes their interior defense, stronger, and I think it's not like the greatest spot for Christian Wood. But on a 4-game slate, I think he's still playable. Dinwiddie, THJ, not super interested in either one of those guys at their price tags. Really nothing else stands out on Dallas. And then on the other side with Boston, so you have Tatum and Brown. Tatum's 10-9 and Brown is 9,500. Normally, I would not look to target Dallas here. Dallas, they do play at a really slow pace, but they are without Dorian Finney-Smith, who's one of their better defenders. So I think it's actually like a pretty good matchup for Jason Tatum. I don't know who's going to guard Tatum here. It would normally be Dorian Finney-Smith, but because he's out, it could be like Reggie Bullock. And Bullock's not a bad defender by any means, but he's definitely like undersized compared to Tatum. So I think it's kind of like a sneaky good spot for Jason Tatum. The 10-9 price tag doesn't make him a priority for today, but I think he is a pretty good pay-up option. I'm normally not a guy that really goes to Tatum a ton, just because whenever this Boston team's fully healthy and whenever they're priced correctly, it's a tough team to really gauge. But I think on a short slate like this, Jason Tatum definitely looks solid. I think Jaylen Brown at 9,500, priced correctly, I'd probably rather go to Tatum if I could get to one of those two Boston guys. And then Marcus Smart, I had some interest in Marcus Smart last slate because it was a really small slate and there was no value. And that's kind of the same case today. Small slate, no value. These mid-range guys like Smart, they're going to stand out a little bit more than normal. So just because there isn't a ton of value today and we could have to, build more like mid-tier lineups, I think that makes Marcus Smart look, a little bit better. I think at 6K, he is definitely a fine option. They're probably going to want him out there as much as possible. He might be, tasked with guarding Luka here. So I think Smart at 6K is viable. Al Horford, I liked a lot last slate after Robert Williams got ruled out, and Horford had like the worst game I've ever seen. Played 22 minutes and literally had 6 DraftKings points in one of the best possible matchups against OKC. I would expect Horford to bounce back here, but man, like after last game, it's tough to feel excited about Horford. He really hasn't shown much upside this season, and with Robert Williams back, it just not a guy that I'm in love with. Same goes for Brogdon and Derek White, the rest of this Boston team. Robert Williams is really cheap. His minutes have started to trend up a little bit. He probably plays like 20 to 22 minutes here. Robert Williams is one of these guys that can put up like 30 DraftKings points in 20 minutes, and I think the matchup's solid. So at 4,100 on a short slate like this with no value, I'm fine going to Robert Williams today. I think he's definitely a viable cheap option if you are looking for kind of a cheap center play. But that'll do it for this game. Let's move on to the next one, Houston and Utah. So starting off on the Houston side, Houston's the other team on a back-to-back today. I'd assume all their guys are going to be good to go, but we'll have to pay attention to their injury report. I know that Eric Gordon has not played on many back-to-backs this season. I don't even know if he's played on a back-to-back all year. Let me see. Yeah, I don't think Eric Gordon's played on a back-to-back all season. So there's a good chance Eric Gordon will be out today, and if Eric Gordon is out, that will give us some value. We'll probably see KJ Martin draw the start if Eric Gordon's out. KJ Martin is only 3,500. In the games that he has started this season, he's been like okay. He's not been like great, but he's been solid, and 3,500 is really cheap for a guy that's probably going to start and play like 30 minutes. So Assuming that Eric Gordon is out today on the back-to-back, I think that does benefit KJ Martin. I think KJ Martin would be a pretty solid value at 3,500. But the rest of this Houston team, like KPJ and Jalen Green, I don't mind the spot against Utah. I think this should be a relatively fast-paced, high-scoring game. I think both Houston guards look solid here. If I had to pick one, I think I'd take this $1,000 savings and go with Jalen Green at 6,600. But both these guys are viable, honestly, like this with not a ton of standout plays. I think Alperen Şengün's in a really good spot. Şengün's a guy that I haven't really been playing a ton lately. His minutes have not been the best. He's been limited by foul trouble in some of these games, but there's also been some games where he just doesn't play like huge minutes. If he's not in foul trouble and if the game is close, I think we get like 30 minutes from Şengün, and we've seen Şengün do really, really well in soft matchups. He crushed against OKC. He's done well against San Antonio, a good matchup. I think this is a really good matchup for Şengün against the Jazz. We've seen the Jazz give up big games to centers this season. The Jazz really struggle to rebound. They give up a lot of offensive rebounds. They give up a lot of points in the paint, and that sets up very well for Şengün's skill set. So at 5,800 in this really good matchup, I do have a lot of interest in Alperen Şengün today. I think he's probably my favorite play on Houston, but I do have some interest in the guards as well. And then if Eric Gordon sits on the back-to-back and KJ Martin starts, I would like him quite a bit for value. But moving on to the other side with Utah, so obviously a really good matchup here for the Jazz going up against a Rockets team that doesn't play much defense. I think Lauri Markkanen is in a really good spot. The only issue with Markkanen is that he's $9K, and that's just, man, that's a lot to pay for Lauri Markkanen. He's priced up there with guys like Jaylen Brown and Ja Morant. Like I can't go to Markkanen when you have like Ja and Tatum and Jaylen Brown for a little bit more. I would just rather get up to those guys. But I would not be surprised if this is a game where Lauri Markkanen does have a lot of success, where he puts up like another 50 Draftkings points. He's had some big games lately. This is a good matchup. The only issue is just the price tag, man. $9K is a lot to pay for Lauri Markkanen. And then Jordan Clarkson's in a really good spot as well. I think it's 7,300. He's a viable mid-tier play. We've seen Houston get killed by guards this season, guards that can score, especially, and obviously that's exactly what Jordan Clarkson is. So definitely like the spot for Jordan Clarkson. I think it's a good spot for Mike Conley as well. Only issue with that with Mike Conley is that the dude is just terrible. I mean, he's not shown much upside this season, but his minutes have been solid. He's been playing like 32, 33 minutes in close games. This matchup is about as good as it gets. I don't really like playing Mike Conley, but I think on this slate, he is definitely going to be on my radar. And then like Kelly Olynyk, Jared Vanderbilt, they're okay. Neither one stand out, though. Olynyk's been playing like 30 minutes a night. 5,300 feels like an appropriate price tag for him. Jared Vanderbilt seems to do better in these kind of like fast-paced games. So like I think Vanderbilt sets up pretty well in the spot. I think him and Olynyk are playable options. Not much really looks good, though, from Utah outside of those guys. So that'll probably do it for that game. And let's go ahead and talk about the last game of the night, the Clippers and the Nuggets. So we'll start off on the Denver side. You got Jokic coming in at 11,800. Look, I'm always a big fan of Jokic. I think Jokic is always a really good pay-up option. I think this matchup against the Clippers is fine. I mean, the Clippers, if you're going to beat them, probably the best way to beat them is down low with bigs. I mean, they got really good wing defense with Kawhi and PG. But Zubac's never been like an elite defender, and I know Jokic has had a lot of success against Zubac in the past, so I'm fine going to Jokic today. Wouldn't consider him a priority, but I think he's definitely a strong pay-up option. The rest of Denver, though, I'm not super excited about. Jamal Murray at 7K feels priced about right, but he should be playing big minutes here. He's been playing big minutes as of late. I think he's a viable option. Clippers defense, though, has been strong lately, so like I don't really want to target the Clippers too much outside of Jokic and maybe Murray. Aaron Gordon, MPJ, their price tags feel about right. If I had to pick one of those two guys, I think I'd go with MPJ, just take the $1,000 savings. MPJ's been like a complete roller coaster this season, but the minutes have been okay lately, and when he does get going, when he starts knocking down shots, you can see him put up big games. I worry about this matchup, though. Like, he's probably going to see Kawhi or PG, both really good defenders, but at 5,900, I think MPJ is a viable option. That's pretty much it from Denver. Like, I don't really like much on this Denver team outside of Jokic and maybe Murray. And then on the other side with the Clippers, so kind of some big news to keep an eye on is the status of Paul George. Paul George listed as questionable with a hamstring injury. This will be something to monitor. If Paul George is out, if he does get ruled out, that would obviously benefit Kawhi Leonard, and Kawhi Leonard at 8,100 would be a really good pay-up option. Kawhi is not a guy that I've really played much this season, but he would be on my radar for sure if Paul George got ruled out. We've seen Kawhi's minutes be pretty much normal lately. 35, 37, 35 minutes over their last 3 games. He would obviously take on a much bigger role, much bigger usage rate if Paul George got ruled out. So I'd have a lot of interest in Kawhi in that scenario. And then the rest of the Clippers, there would be some value here to go to. I think Norman Powell, Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, these guys would all get little bumps if Paul George is out. I don't know if there'd be one standout play from the Clippers. Might depend on the starting lineup. Like if Paul George does get ruled out, we might see Terrence Mann start. And if Terrence Mann draws the start, I mean, he's only 4,100. He would definitely be in play for value if he were to start for PG. If they were to start Luke Kennard, then we could maybe look to Luke Kennard, who's only 3,300. He could be in play for value. Like I said, I don't think there'd be like a clear top value play from the Clippers if Paul George got ruled out, but you could definitely mix in Powell, Morris, Jackson, Mann, and then Kennard. Like all these guys would benefit a little bit. I would definitely want to pay attention to starting lineup, though. Unfortunately, this is the last game of the night, so I don't know when we're going to get news on Paul George. Hopefully, we get some news in the afternoon. But if he gets ruled out, like after lock, we'll have to just wait and see like what the starting lineup is. But I think that'll do it for the Clippers. And then like Paul George, if he plays, I'm not super interested in. But yeah, that'll do it for the Clippers. And I think that does it for this 4-game slate for Thursday night, guys. So hope you enjoyed this video. As always, appreciate you watching. Hit that like button if you guys enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. And again, go check out PrizePicks. Sponsor of the video. You guys can sign up for PrizePicks. Use my promo code NOAH. You will get your first deposit matched up to $100 when you do sign up for PrizePicks with my promo code. Check out their site. See all the player props they have available. See if there's anything that stands out to you. You have to make at least 2 picks, but you can make up to 6 picks, and you can win up to 25x your money on PrizePicks. But good luck tonight, guys. Thanks as always for watching these videos, supporting the channel. Appreciate you guys a ton. We will see you guys in the next one. Peace.